Hello everyone, Nihal teacher is here. Today I will introduce you to my lesson plan I made for A1 and A2 learners about modal verbs. We will specifically focus on can and can't in this lesson. It won't be a very intense lesson, it will be very fun and very easygoing for both teacher and the students. So without further ado, let's begin. So in this lesson plan, I try to incorporate some drama techniques. Mainly I used, puppet making. But it's like really easy since we are targeting A1, A2 level students. They're very young learners, so it shouldn't be very hard. As you can see it on the screen, here is my aim and objectives for the lesson. I try to incorporate again drama techniques to teach these two modal verbs, and at the end of the lesson I expect my students to use these modal verbs in a daily life conversations very comfortably and confidently. At least I hope that. And before we moving forward, I would like to mention my class size. Our class is a medium-sized classroom. I imagined that having 20 students at max. So if we assume that normal Turkish classrooms have 40 to 45 students, it's a middle-sized classroom. Okay, so materials needed for this class. There are some materials we need for this class beforehand. We need a blank worksheet for the puppet activity that I will mention. We need lots and lots of colorful pencils. We need some glue. We need some scissors, but make sure that they are either safety scissors or kid-friendly scissors, but make sure to keep an eye on students and help them, if they need it, so they won't hurt themselves. But I'm sure if you use safety scissors, it will lower the chances of something bad happening. But be careful again. And we need lots of love and passion. Both teacher need this and students need this for the lesson as well. So let's begin with a wrap up. It will only take 5 to 10 minutes, but it depends on your lesson. I will try to, I will as a teacher try to introduce modal verbs can and can't, like basically telling the meaning of these modal verbs, where can we use them. Maybe we can write them some examples so they can match, they can have a physical thing written on the board, so they can match this physical example with my verbal instructions. After that I will try to share some verbal examples, and I will start by giving examples from my life. Maybe I can say that, oh, I can crochet. I like to crochet every day. As you can see, I can make this bag, and I will maybe show my handmade purse. I can make some sweaters, and I can make some bracelets. If you want, I can crochet some bracelets for you guys as well. Then I will direct some questions to my students, but maybe beforehand I can show an example about the modal verb can't as well. I can maybe continue that unfortunately I can't ride a bike because my dad never teach me. And I will maybe ask my students how many of you can ride a bike? I want to see hands, and maybe they can raise their hands, and I will ask them to teach me, and maybe I can pick a student and I will ask some some of the things they can and they cannot do. And we should keep in mind that all of these activities we execute during this lesson plan should be encouraging, all the time, because they're very young learners. So when they are listing the things they can do, you can say that, oh, you can do anything. Is there anything you can't do? Wow. Those kinds of appraisals will go along better with that, then we will watch a very, very short video about like 1-ish minute, and we will discuss some of the elements of this video. As you can see, this is our video, if I can open it. It's really
I can swim.
Video, and Dalton can swim, but after
I can't walk.
Goes down,
Help!
he can't walk. Let me stop it real quickly. You know, after we watch this video, maybe I can ask them, oh, guys, can the monkey in the video climb a tree? And maybe they can answer with like, oh yes he can, or yes she can. Maybe I can contradict them to, you know, to lengthify this conversation and say, oh, are you sure? I don't think he can. But I think he can fly. What do you think? You know, to keep the conversation going. Then we will move on with our wild activity. And the materials I mentioned beforehand will come in handy during this activity. So first of all, I will share this blank puppet worksheet with them and give them lots of colorful pencils and ask them to draw their, you know, favorite character. It can be a cartoon character, a movie character, it can be from an animation, it doesn't matter. I just want to bring something to class that like they're passionate about. You know, I want to attract their attention with something they are very passionate about. So I would ask them to do that. Since our class size is 20, I will divide them into groups of 2. After that, and after I'm sure that they're all done, I would like them to imagine a setting where their characters are meeting at a cafe to have some tea or coffee and have a little chit chat, and they're discussing some things about like what they can do, what they cannot do, and they will, you know, continuously ask with each other. And then after I'm sure they all understood, they will, you know, groups will come to the board one by one, and maybe we can put some chairs so they can sit down. But oh, now I remember. Before we moving on with this activity, it can be better to give them some kind of a demonstration. Therefore, I can bring my own paper puppets from home that I prepared, you know, beforehand. Then maybe I can demonstrate a conversation with my puppet, and I can ask him, oh, maybe it can be a Superman puppet, and I will say that, oh, Superman, can you fly? And maybe he can say, yes, I can fly, I have a cape, you know, and we will keep the conversation going. It can be a very short example. And another thing I forgot to mention, that, you know, while they're you know, drawing and cutting some things, make sure to keep an eye on them again and help them with anything, because it can be a bit hard to, you know, to cut things, you know, by following the lines or gluing the, you know, 2 sides of the paper puppet. So maybe you can help them, you know, try to size it around their paper so the puppet doesn't fall. Yeah, just keep in mind. I'm sure I don't need to, you know, say those things again and again, but just a warning, you know, just a heads up before we're going on. Then we will, you know, ask our groups to come to the board one by one, sit down at the chairs. Maybe we can put a background of a cafe behind them. Maybe we can, you know, present it on the board, and they will continue to have their conversations. While doing that, me as a teacher will take some notes. to give them a feedback at the end of the lesson, of course. I will not try to interrupt them so much. I want these things to go with the flow, and I want them to feel comfortable as it, time goes by. They need to practice it themselves, and they need to learn it through this beautiful puppet drama technique. So I want to give them some space and give them some chance to learn these modal verbs, better. After that, we will wrap up the class by, again, as I mentioned, with the small feedback. As you can see it on the presentation, I wrote down some important points. I'm sure all of the teachers knows how to give feedback, since again they are very young learners. I'm sure it will be best even if you are pointing out their small mistakes, if you're saying one negative thing about their presentation, maybe they accidentally use can in a maybe can wrongly let's say, please try to wrap it up with three positive things, like the sandwich method. This is the negative thing, and these are the bigger ones, are the positive things. Try to wrap it around that, so students can feel more confident and will be brave enough to come up to the later lessons, and they will they will be just more relaxed throughout the whole semester. You cannot just think this lesson, and they will be excited to talk more and more in class, at least I hope. And also, don't forget to clap your students and give everyone a good job, because this is a very brave thing to do. They're learning a new topic and they're practicing it for the first time, so it's a very big thing for them. So make sure to praise your students and gently correct their mistakes. And we have a very small homework just to check their comprehension. I would ask them to write at least 3 sentences for each modal verb, and they should be about their life. Maybe it can be about their hobbies, it can be about like their daily routines, whatever they do. I can brush my teeth, I can run, but I cannot swim. Those types of things. Very simple, very easy peasy lemon squeezy homework, but it's good. So that's all from me. I hope you liked it, and I would love to see if you try out this lesson plan and how did it turn out. So thank you. Make sure to clap yourself as well and give yourself a pat on the back and a good job as well, because you did great. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.